Hey, what's up, guys? Tuki here, back again with another episode of my Carolina Hurricanes franchise mode series right here on NHL 19. And today we go through yet another offseason, and it's yet another offseason that could see quite a few changes. Of course, the last episode was fairly depressing. We absolutely blew it in the playoffs, and now we have questions surrounding some of our top players. Unfortunately, there's only so many of them that we can move, and the biggest one out of that group, of course, would be Spencer Knight, and whether or not he's going to be our goaltender this upcoming season is certainly up for debate. His future is not certain. So let's go ahead and get down to business. Of course, we also have the question of just how cautious are we going to be when it comes to team building, when it comes to making acquisitions. Again, we are going to be losing our first round pick, which sucks, but at the very least, we do still have freedom with free agency, and we really need to make the most of that as you take a look at the players that have retired for this season. So let's see, we have Alex Radulov becomes a scout, which is amazing. We also lose our QMJHL scout, but we can fix that in due time. Let's focus on the draft. Let's do this. So again, our goal for the season was, of course, to make it past the second round or we lose our pick. So me getting rid of that pick does not count as us trading down, of course. It's just the punishment. So we're going to get that first trade out of the way here fairly quickly, and then we will take it from there. So we'll pair a first and a seventh, send it to Winnipeg for a seventh. So that is our first round pick gone. Thanks a lot to the team for absolutely blowing it. You're welcome, Winnipeg, who already had the number one pick. So as far as the draft is concerned, I mean, there may indeed be people. I mean, I guess we didn't have a WHL scout, or our WHL scout didn't bother scouting out the top guys. As far as the draft is concerned, of course, we're still going to be looking to make the picks that we need to make. But I do believe we have to trade up or down at least once. Let's see, we have 3, 4, 5, 6, and actually we're perfect where we are. We can just make these 7 picks and be fine. We don't have a pick, though, in the first 2 rounds, which is pretty brutal. As far as whether or not we have the option to trade up, I mean, we do. It would have to involve Knight, but I'm not exactly eager to get rid of Knight at the moment. We would need a guarantee because this team is very much in a playoff spot moving forward, you'd like to think, or at least that's the goal. And if there aren't any top-notch goalies, I mean, you know, it's a situation where we'd have to trade a good goalie for a good goalie, and if it's someone of similar value, like an Ottinger, we're going to have to give up more. So if we move Spencer Knight, it's not going to be here at the draft. And technically, a lot of Kynan we could move. I mean, in terms of his value, I don't think I'd factor in, like, you know, using his full value, but you could use him and say he's worth at least what Mikanov is worth. At least. I wouldn't say his value should be that high, though. 59 overall, 19 years old, that's a little bit rocky. But we could still use him to maybe trade up into the first round, at least the low end. And again, someone like Bowen Byram, Jake Bean, not entirely sure what their future is with this team at this point either. There is so much up in the air. Of course, guys like Nino Niederreiter are going to need new contracts. So I think while we could trade up into the first round, we're going to hold off. We could easily trade up into the first round next year. I mean, it's unless I wish you could just sim to a certain pick. But let's say Washington, Florida, and Nashville. Washington wants to get rid of their pick. Do they need a goalie prospect? Kinda, sort of. They have Shesterkin and Samsonov, but they don't really have a top-notch goalie prospect from the looks of it. So you know what? Let's see if we should be able to do this. So obviously, again, I'm not going to make the most of Latikainen's value, but I think you could argue for a team that kind of needs a prospect in the system, I'm certainly not abusing the value. but I am going to do it to trade up and get a first-round pick because, I mean, my God, we really need it. So I feel like that's relatively fair. We're going to have to add in a draft pick to get this done, and we'll just have it be the Anaheim 7th. And I think I'm willing to do that. They don't want him, but I can justify it as we're not getting the most out of his value. They need a prospect. I feel like that's fair, and we get a low-end first-round pick back. So there you go, Washington, because I don't really trust that Lautikainen would have developed. I mean, 59 at 19 is a bit shaky, and it's the type of move where I'd rather get a first-round pick this year, have that be our one trade-up, and then we'll take it from there. So let's see who is available. And a lot of WHL players where, again, our scout did not do a very good job. Jaden Johnson out of the Medicine Hat Tigers. Yeah. What about Antoine Thibault? Yeah. He's 17, so that could work. Fabian Paish. Decent point total. A little bit more of a guarantee. Actually has slightly better skating than Thibault, but Thibault, good old Thibault, with the better point total, ever so slightly. Jalen Gillis, the Gius, not looking that great. Topi Varakis, Jaden Bentley. I mean, I think we go for Thibault or Gillis, and we're going to go for the 17-year-old forward here. Antoine, don't call me Jocelyn Thibault, is going to be the guy. And we'll hope if he's not medium 6, it's a disaster. And again, we're not going to know because of fog of war, so time will tell. I was going to turn it back off at the draft so we knew immediately, but that is what it is. So that is our left wing selection out of the way. We do not have another pick until the 18th pick of the 3rd round. We do have a Stutzel, a low 4 gem. Oh, God. So already I'm looking at Mendez, Saugus, Payarvi, and Ernie. So Mendez, 28 points as an 18-year-old for the Erie Otters. Not much to go off of. Saugus as a 17-year-old, 12 points for the Everett Silvertips. Not much to go off of. We have Bill Ernie, 17 years old, had 2 points in Germany. And we have Lars Payarvi. That is not a great set of selections there. We could take Ernie. He's at least a younger player. We'll have a little bit more time to develop. We could risk it with the complete unknown in Saugus. It's going to be a center regardless. We're going to go for Eddie Saugus here. And hope that works. Eddie Saugus. The Saugus. I guess it wouldn't be Saugus like Saugus, but, you know. The Skogus. The Saugus. Eddie. You're the pick. That is a center pick out of the way. So again, we'll need a right wing, 2 defensemen, a goaltender, and our wild card pick. And thus far, I mean, no real way to know how we're doing in this draft, of course. And it could be a defenseman up next. Carlos is the first option. Not too bad in terms of a point total. Glenn Haynes from the Niagara Ice Dogs. Not a ton to go off of, but could be the pick. McElhaney, I mean, meh. Keegan Ollie, 18 and 18. It's not too bad. Jackson Martin's 20 years old. That's pretty rough. Jalen Yoshimura, pretty rough as well. Payarvi is still there. And I didn't want to back all the way out game, but sure. Thank you for deciding to do that for me. I think it's going to be Haynes or McElhaney. And I don't know which, honestly. I doubt McElhaney's that good. Haynes at least had some points. Let's, oh God, do we take the risk with McElhaney? Let's do it. We'll take the risk with McElhaney. I feel better about Haynes right now, but we'll see if that pays off in the future. Highly unlikely with my luck as of late. So again, we need a right wing, a defenseman, a goaltender, and we have our one free pick. And next up, there's a low elites. And that's probably going to be our free pick in Colton Kessler. I do have the ability to trade down, but he's pretty much guaranteed. Unless Stephen Horton, 6'5", guaranteed. Wow, he's a two-way over a power forward. That's shocking. Normally, he would have been a power forward. Kessler's 20. I mean, tore up the U.S. I mean, you know, he tore up the U.S. I know he's an overager, but still, it's either Kessler or we go for Laurent Fleury, who we don't know a damn thing about. So it's pretty straightforward. We're going to take Kessler. That is our free pick of the draft, our second left wing. So now it's a right wing, a defenseman, and a goaltender for the rest of the way. And we'll see what we can do here. 5th round at this point. San Jose ended up with an enforcer named Torres. And this is looking like it's going to be our defenseman pick. Probably Martindale. Roger Zigomanis, nothing to talk about there. Martindale, 9 goals, only 3 assists. Caden Weeks can't take another left wing anyway. Ty Khan's not looking that good. Bednar's is kind of meh. And Chance McEachern's kind of meh. So we'll hope for the best with Martindale. Again, doubt he's actually that good. But we have very limited options. So it'll be a right wing and a goaltender the rest of the way. And we'll hope for the best here with this draft. But obviously the free agency period is going to be the big one for us. And there is nobody there that I can afford to draft. So I can either trade down, or we could just say I scroll down and take the very next right wing that's listed. And if he's terrible, he's terrible. How do I want to do this? Which is just an idea that came to mind, spur of the moment. You know what? Let's see who it would be. Okay, that might not be fair. I'm just going to make that pick. I feel like that's fair because it brings chance out of it. It could end up being someone who might be half decent. Could end up being someone who's completely terrible. I feel like that's fair. We're going to take Leeson, and we'll see what we have here in terms of a goaltender, not in terms of trading with the Pittsburgh Penguins. And I believe that final pick was in the 7th round. It is the 3rd pick of the 7th round. What goaltender is it going to be? I think I'm going to do the same thing and just scroll down and see who it's going to be. I mean, granted, I can just literally do that, but it's not as dramatic. We were so close. But it won't be Gaspard Severet. We'll take Guy Daze. The good old Guy days. And hope for the best. So close to that being just amazing. Even though he's an overager, and that means he'd be terrible and we wouldn't be able to trade him. We'll take old Guy days. And that is it for this draft. So there we go. That might be the better way to handle it. Just scroll down and leave it up to chance. We'll see how good some of those guys end up being, of course, with Fog of War. It's going to take us some time to know, but that's kind of the point. So we have the one extra day here to try and get players on the 85% trick if we want them. And in terms of expiring deals, I mean, Binnington, Halverson did just win a Calder Cup, but I think we'll be letting go of those. Well, Binnington wasn't that bad. Binnington was actually pretty good this year. You know, if we can bring back Binnington for one more year. Now, he wants to re-sign, so I'll try it as far as like, hey, will you take 1.5 because you want to come back? But I've so rarely gotten players to accept that. But we'll try it, and we'll see what happens. I want to bring back Fritzmeyer as well. We'll pay him a little bit extra. He'll be a goalie down in the AHL for us. And then Halverson will let go for now because Mikanov is going to be in the AHL this season alongside Fritzmeyer. So Mikanov will be the dude. Halverson, thank you. Congratulations on your Calder Cup, but you got to go. Defensively, I think we pretty much talked about it. Dom Machine, I think I'm going to let him go. We'll let him walk, and we'll see if there's a built-in replacement. Not a bad point producer at all for a third-pairing guy, but he's 29, and someone like Owen Power is threatening to step up. So we need to make sure he has the room to do so. So Graves, Johns, John Wesley, Ben Harper, they're all going to be let go. And guys like Tiervainen and Russo will probably be signed and given an opportunity, so we don't have to sign anybody right now. And then forward-wise, Jamie Ben's going to walk. Nino might be walking. It's a matter of what can we get all of these younger RFAs signed to. And again, with RFAs, we don't have to worry about no trades or no movements, which I think is kind of really the only fair way to do it, unless we, well, I wouldn't even say the fair way to do it, but that was the way we elected on, rather than just being like, okay, anybody who wants this deal, screw it, you can't move them, right? So, because as it is, if it was, okay, any player, then, I mean, Peterson would be getting spun for a no-trade clause here, which, you know, not that, you know, guys who sign RFA deals can't get no trade clauses. Again, it's just what we decided to do for the series. We'll go 2.3 here for Theo. That would have been another... actually, would have been just shy of a no trade. So Peterson actually would have been the only guy that we were spinning for there. We'll try to give every single one of these guys the 1 extra year, which again, I'm only allowed to bump it up by 1 year or bump it down by 1 year. We'll go 1.6 over 4 years, which would be a very tradable contract. Allanen will bump it up to 3. And again, hopefully these guys sign these deals. Bump that down to 1.5. Tulipov wants a 2-way deal. Damn. 2 years, 2-way, 950. We'll do it. That's pretty surprising. Morgan Geekie. I just don't know. Like, you were okay on the 4th line this year. You know, just your second full season in the NHL. And both times he was fine. I think I'll bring him back. But there's no... Does he want to stay? He doesn't. There's no real way of guaranteeing that he's even going to stay and that we won't trade him. Same with Brett Leeson, who might finally push for a 4th line spot. We'll see if he accepts that 1-year deal. And then someone like Nielsen's going to have to be signed. Okposo will be let go of. Kerslake will absolutely look to bring him back. Let's go 3 years at 950. Don't know if that's a good sign of him ever stepping up, but he'll be a good filler role for us. Killinen here. We'll bump it up, drop it down to 1 year. Killinen and Hedman are tough ones where it really does depend on how many depth spots we have. Those could actually end up being tough contracts. And Celios as well. You know, those are the guys that we might have to ditch to make room for people. But the good thing is we only have 1 forward that needs to be signed. That's Denis Pepin. So, and Nielsen. But obviously we have quite a few defensemen we're going to get rid of. So that'll free up some spots. So I think, again, all I can really afford to do is try to re-sign Nino, just in case. So I'm cool with a 3-year deal. Does he want to come back? He doesn't. So let's go 3 years at 2.7. And we'll see if he accepts that. And again, we know that Jamie Benn is pretty much out. That's not really going to work for us in case Whitfield steps up or Zigra. It's just, yeah, Jamie Benn's got to go, even though he wants to come back. And, of course, he was a complete bust for us in the playoffs. So we'll see if any of those guys sign the cheaper deals on that last negotiating day. Jesus Christ, all those scouts. I'm going to let all of them go and just try to sign all the A-grade scouts that I can. So let's see. Nino is back. Binnington rejected for now. Geekie rejected. Celios is back. Peterson, Allanen, Kerslake, Matanen, Fritzmeier, Henman, Theo, Leeson, Killinen, Tulipov, all signed. So, all in all, fairly successful round of contracts offered there. So the goaltenders, again, Halverson, hate to say it, buddy, but you're going to be dropped so that we can sign Mikanov to his ELC. And, of course, Greiba is still signed as well. So that'll pretty much sort out the goaltending. Unless we deal Spencer Knight. Binnington, let's go 1 year at $2 million. See if that's enough for him. Defensively, like I mentioned, Machine, Graves, Johns. I'm going to be dropping all of them. I was going to say I don't have to release them, but I probably should just to make sure. Turns out I could have sent Owen Power a deal, but I don't think it's going to be that detrimental. Although a deal like this is fairly dangerous. Let's go 1.7 over 4 years. Wesley and Harper will go. And again, now we have quite a few contract spots freed up. Russo, you know what? I'm going to give him a chance. I know it's a bad potential, but I'm going to give him a chance. I'm going to give Tiervinen a chance. Those are guys that we drafted. We'll see if they end up working out for us. Kozlov next year is probably a bit too low. I don't think I'll sign any medium 7s. Right wings, Geekie. Of course, Kyle Okposo will be dropped, even though he wasn't that bad. Peterson, or Pedersen even. I'm not even going to sign this guy yet. I'm going to wait until he has to be signed. First round pick. He's already 21. The offensive awareness is good, though. He could be a pretty interesting third liner for us, hopefully, down the road. Denis Pepin needs to be signed, and he will be. And we'll hold off on sending a deal. Oh, you know, screw it. Morgan Geekie, I want to try to bring you back. Let's go 1 year at 1.9, which is a bit much for a 4th liner, but we'll still try it. Left wing wise, Jamie, love to keep you, but I can't. And the only reason for that is, number one, the amount of money he's going to command. I'm not sure how many years he wanted, but for me, I feel like in the spirit of this series, it's okay to say, I'm going to keep Morgan Geekie. Oh, wait, damn, people progressed. Let me trade Morgan Geekie, and what would be, training camp. I feel like that's a little bit better than being like, oh, let me trade Jamie Benn. Like, I guess we could make the rule that, like, oh, okay, you're allowed to re-sign Jamie Benn, but if you trade him, it's got to be for a 7th. Like, something like that could work. But as it is, we only have $8 million in cap space here. So there's really not a whole hell of a lot we can do at this point. Again, free agency, there's not going to be a whole hell of a lot we can do either. So the roster's pretty much set. I want to leave that money just in case. I'd rather see who's out there rather than sign Jamie Benn. Bennington's back. Geekie still rejected. Owen Power rejected. But Nielsen and Meekanoff, Russo as well, Tyrväinen as well, Danny Pepin as well, have all signed their ELCs. So we're looking good on that front. So it's just Geekie and Power. We do have the space to sign them. I'm going to let Geekie go. I want to bring him back, but I'm not paying $2 million to a 4th liner. So I hate to say it, but Morgan Geekie is on the way out. But Owen Power, we will obviously try to bring back. Let's go 4 years at $2 million, which is a very interesting contract for him, but we'll still go for it. Let's see if that works. Power is back. Perfect. So I think we're good. Would have loved to have brought Morgan Geekie back, but man, I'm not paying $2 million to a 4th liner. That leaves us with 6.71 heading into free agency. 4 contract spots as well. So the odds that we make any moves here, relatively slim from the looks of it. But you never know. It'll probably just end up being the players that, the prospects that we'll go for, the one from each. I think that'll be the best way to handle it. So let's go ahead and send out 9 contract offers to scouts. And of course, this menu takes forever in a day. My God, forever in a day. Look at all the Denny Pepins. My God, we signed Denny Pepin. Now we have Matthew Denny Pepin. And we also have, please be Denny Pepin. Oh, he's Daniel Denny Pepin. Damn it. Damn it. I was hoping his name would be Denny or Danny. Oh, Dallas Rodney. Hell of a name. Try to bring you back. I was hoping that one of the top-notch scouts would be a former real-world player, because it is a bit more fun to bring in those real-world players, even though they ultimately just end up being a name. But 'tis what it is. That's 5. Dubnik will be 6. Weinrich will be the 7th. Of course, I'm not really worried about their grades as far as like, oh, they're all NHL people. Just rework them. As long as they're good at scouting, they'll get familiarity with the region. Donovan Parrish. And last, but certainly not least, who else do we have in the A- category? Just one. And it's not even Alex Radulov. It's Vyacheslav Radulov. So that'll be the final deal there. And we'll be good with scouts, which is nice. So let's move on. Free agency. Who is available, if anyone, is the question. And Jamie Benn's actually top of the class next to Victor Hedman. Damn. 34-year-old Victor Hedman, huh? Take a look here. So goaltending-wise, Kaltonen. Ooh, RFA. He's going to be expensive as hell. Yes, he is. So we are priced out of that. And actually, it's a really good thing that we made that deal with Washington, because they just lost both of their goaltenders. So, I feel like we did Washington a solid there. But yeah, I mean, in terms of a goaltender, it's just going to be a top prospect. No doubt about that. There's really nobody else that we'd want to look for there. So let's try to see who the top player available is. $950 is the max offer. That is a loud-ass truck outside, but you know what? I'm just going to try to ignore it. 21-year-old Vasilev, Yuri Vasilev, listed as an other goalie. That's not a good sign. Kirka, other goalie. Lumala. Oh, God, those numbers are brutal. Silverberg, a little bit better. Connor Jarvis, even better. Played a hell of a lot more games, too. They were both listed as other goalies. Erickson, ooh, a little bit of promise. They could be medium elite. He's 20 years old, listed as another goalie. Oh, my God, the franchise goalie wasn't picked. Well, again, I wouldn't technically have the ability to trade him for his max value, but I'll gladly take a 20-year-old franchise goalie if we can get him. Thank you very much to Zegras for hitting his total needed last year. In terms of defense, Hedman, which even if I wanted to offer him like a 1-year deal, we could technically go in for Victor Hedman for 1 year, which would be great. We also have Ulevi, Fabro again, who's commanding quite a bit of money. Mitchell, Chalowski, Stanley. Here's the thing. If we go for one of these defensemen, we're committing to trading either Bean or Byram, which I'm not against. Again, we've talked about that. But I don't necessarily think it's the right way to go for Hedman. With Olli Ulevi, listed as a top 4 guy. Whew, not bad. Plus 37 last season for the former Canuck. Of course, Fabro was already kind of a bust on this team at one point. And still not too bad. Ian Mitchell. How's Ian Mitchell done? 24 points last year, but a defensive nightmare. Chalosky, Stanley, Chikrin. I guess the first thing to do here will be to see if there are actually any prospects who are better to go for. That's the one thing that could kind of sway my opinion here. Is if there are any prospects to try and target. We start off with Caden Ma, minor depth defenseman. 19 years old, 76 assists. Jesus Christ, he was a second-round pick of the Leafs. 88 points as a defenseman in the W. Yeah, I would immediately rather go for him than trade than make a deal. Oh my God. And Chase Stanton, who was a Penguins pick. Jesus. How the hell do you pick between those two? Tukkanen, Salmalainen's kind of meh. Kalle Sontag, not that good. Vocek, Smeed, Barry Hill, Luke Betts, not that bad. Nuge, showing signs of potentially being a low elite, which is promising, and then DeAndre Sexsmith. So for me, despite the fact that it's kind of teasing that Tyson Nugent-Hopkins could be a low... I mean, that's tough. That's tough. Do you go with Ma or Stanton? I'd probably go with Caden Ma. You know, I'm going to take the risk with Caden Ma. Even over another defenseman. We'll see what happens and if anyone's still available later on. And then forward-wise, again, don't really think I'm going to risk it. Bringing Jeff Skinner back to Carolina would be hilarious, but we're still looking at so many players potentially developing that it's just not worth it for me to go after anybody. It just isn't. We have the ability to build from within, and that is still the game plan. So we'll go down, try to look at all the top prospects. It's going to take us a little while to get there, but we'll see what we have. So out of the 950s, we start off with Michel Oulet, the Wallet. Third round pick of the Leafs, 113 points in the queue. Pretty solid. Corson, decent, but he's 21. Fourth round pick of the Ducks. Raquel, third round pick of the Sharks. Who else do we have here? Schustrom and Derek Bickle, also not that bad. Second round pick of the Oilers. We have Duchesne, teasing that he could be a low elite. Nolan, Carlson. I mean, we have guys who have put up points, but Oulet there, the Wallet, looking like he could be the guy. Now I'm wondering, and unfortunately, yeah, they're all listed as other forwards. I gotta be honest, I think we go where the points are. I know that guy's threatening low elite, but we're gonna take this former third round pick of the Leafs and hope that they are pretty dumb. And those will be the 3 that we are allowed to sign, if they all sign, before August 1st. And then again, we have freedom of movement. So let's see what we got going on here, shall we? And whether or not we get the targets that we're looking for. Of course, we'll have to deal with all of these scouts. Sivret has signed, so we get a medium franchise goaltender. Because why not? I'll take that. Sivret signed. The Ule, the wallet, has signed. And Caden Moss signed. All right. Well, now it's just a time will tell kind of thing. I mean, especially with the goaltender. What overall are you? Are you ever going to be half decent? That's a pretty big question, I would say. Here's hoping, but we have no real guarantee. So at this point, I mean, as it is now, there's really nothing we can do. We're on 50 contracts, the last I knew. So we are just good to go to sim to the next season. Like I said, I'm pretty sure that puts us right on 50 contracts. Let's move forward. Let's do it. Let's do it. So, the big thing here, yet again, much like last year, will be player progression. We didn't get very lucky last year in that category. We had quite a bit of trouble, and obviously it led to us having the ability to trade for Ben and Okposo, which didn't work out. It did in the regular season. It was looking good, and then the word playoff came up, and our team shit their pants and never really showed up, so that sucks. But we'll see what we can do here. And of course, we'll see what the roles are for these guys. The only thing I wanted to check, of course, are unsigned players and see if anyone is approaching an NHL role, and they're not. So obviously the whole other forward, other defenseman thing really sucks, but it could end up being worth it. So goaltenders, Knight and Binnington. And then we have Gryba, Sivret, Meekinoff, and Fritzmeyer. I think ideally someone would go, but that's fine for now. Our defense is set. Owen Power takes the step up. And I mean, we're good. We need one depth defenseman for the NHL level. But aside from that, we're fine. I mean, yeah, we have the depth on defense, so we have to make that one move, and I think we have too many forwards as it is. And again, just I don't have faith in Spencer Knight, but there's no easy call for how to move him, unfortunately. And then forward-wise, Whitfield still doesn't take the step up, but we have one too many third-line guys, so odds are Nino's going to go. The top, we'll say the top line is Max, Svechnikov, Whitfield. Second line is now Peterson, probably Zegras, and Robertson. Actually, no, wait, we're good. Yeah, well, shit. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. No, shit, we're actually good. It's Berard who doesn't make the jump. Nope, okay, there we go. We do have one too many. Okay, so we do have to move one third line guy. Pekka Matinen's probably the guy. I mean, he's not a bad option to have. Of course, right here, the attributes aren't going to be 100% clear. He's very well-rounded, but it's the penalty minutes that are really concerning. And, I mean, obviously, with someone that physical, it's not surprising. And then the fourth line, we do have Nielsen. Wow, so Nielsen's going to make it straight into the team. That is huge. Bradley's also listed as a depth forward. So that is huge, that Nielsen's going to step right up to this team. And he'll be on the fourth line with Alanin and Tulipov. So let's just say Gougnot and DuPont also listed as depth forwards. So we have some good talent there up top. So yeah, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then the 3 fourth liners. So it's between Martinen, Robertson, Turcotte, Theo Rochette. It's got to be Martinen. It has to be. Robertson was too good offensively, and that's the thing. I'd rather have guys who can fill in the top 6 in case someone's not getting it done. I mean, really, it actually comes down to Niederreiter as the veteran, or we stick with the youth with Martinen. And again, Nino was signed. Actually, I was supposed to spin the wheel for Nino. Oh, that was a mistake. I was supposed to spin the wheel for Nino. So, you know what? Now the decision is completely out of my hands. I wasn't even thinking when I re-signed Nino to that. And now, the decision's out of my hands. I guess the question is whether or not Nino will be staying. So, we'll be spinning for a no-trade clause. And we'll see how many years that's active for. And then we'll have to spin for the total number of teams between 3 and 25. So let's do this. First and foremost, is there a no trade clause for Nino? And even if there is, I can still move him. Obviously, it'll just be a reduced amount of teams. And if it is, it's a problem because we don't exactly know what the standings are. So I'd probably have to go off of rebuilders. But it could land on a 0, and if it does, hey, we're free and clear and good to go. That is a 3-year no-trade clause. But it's not a no-movement clause. So the question is, between how many teams? How many teams? God, how the hell would I even do this? So it would still have to be something like this. As far as figuring out essentially whether or not I'm allowed to trade him to a rebuilder, a contender. It's still going to be similar to that. And we'll see what we're dealing with here. So it is a 3-year, 12-team, no trade clause. Again, that doesn't mean that we're technically not allowed to move him. It's just very restrictive. Very restrictive. So 3 out of 3 years. And again, that was a 12-team NTC. So we're still probably going to want to move Nino. Just not really sure how we're going to do it. And then all of those depth forwards, I don't know who I want. Probably Brett Leeson as the veteran will be the depth forward. And we'll let Berard, Gougnat, DuPont just absolutely rip the AHL to shreds. I think that'll be the best way to do it. Bradley was young as well. Yeah, he's 20. So we'll let that new crop of talent do some serious damage down at that level. So with Niederreiter, it's actually kind of a tough call. I need to free up a roster spot. At the very least, we have to sign a depth defenseman. So let's go trade a goaltender for basically nothing. And as far as I remember, I don't know how valuable Gryba was. I think he was a starter, but he was a low overall. So we're pretty much going to trade Gryba for nothing. And then odds are Nino gets dealt. Nobody wants Gryba, huh? That's not good. Are there any teams that just don't have goalies? Colorado? Can you take on this guy for like a 5th? What do you think? A 5th is too much. Wow. He has that little value, huh? How about just the 7th? Really? Really? That, okay. Actually, no shit, we have 49 contracts. We should be good. I thought we had 50. Never mind, so we don't even have to make that decision yet. Let's just go find a depth defenseman. It could end up being Chikrin. Or not, he's actually way too good. So, depth defenseman, Borgen or Sacconi. It'll be one of those two. Will Borgen had 12 points and was a plus 20 in the NHL last year. And Joe Sacconi was a minus 40. Well, that decision's been made pretty goddamn easily. Let's go ahead and sign one William Borgen to a contract. And from there, we're pretty much good to go. So, again, I think I'll leave the decision up to you guys. Between Matanen and Nino, who goes? We might have to wait a little bit to trade Nino because I can't see last season's standings, or I could just go back to a video from last year and see last year's standings. I mean, technically, if it's a 12-team no trade, we'd be starting in reverse order, basically saying you want to go to a contender. So it would kind of be a toss-up in terms of how we'd be able to do this. And basically, it would be like, oh, okay, have it be listed as like a hopeful, and kind of try to eliminate that. So actually, I think I'll try to See what that would look like before we end this episode. So, Borgen's on the way up. Wow. Ma might be... I don't think he'll be that good, but Ma could be pretty good. And then forward-wise, again, between Nino and Martin, somebody has to go. And I don't know who. I genuinely don't. That's a tough one. But one of them will be going. Rest assured. Rest assured. So say we go best lines. And say it's Nino. Which, again, here, I'll give you guys a look here. I mean, Nino, again, he's 33. 54 points last year, though. Still pretty damn good as a third-line scoring forward. And then Martinen's obviously a checking forward. He had 37 points, but he's a big penalty taker. The physicality's nice, but, man, even for that reason, I feel like it's got to be Martinen that goes. I think it has to be. I like the physicality, but he's got to go. Just the penalty minutes are out of control, so I'm actually going to make that decision for us. Obviously, his value's not that high. We know that. And I think from here, let's find a team that wants him, preferably in the Western Conference, that can afford him. And Colorado would be an interesting landing spot. And obviously, we'd be looking for a draft pick back, but a player back as well would be nice because we're only allowed to get one draft pick back. So Dallas isn't going to work. Los Angeles could work. Do you have anybody on the block? Alto. Whew, second line forward, that doesn't help. But man, he was a... Are you kidding? Did we go for this guy? 1 year left at 4-4. We could go for Essa Alto. We might have to give up a little bit to get him, but damn, that could be something right there. It would drastically change. We would have to get rid of essentially Martinen and Nino, which, I mean, technically Los Angeles is a hopeful. You know what? Let me see. So this is what I was going to do with Nino, right? So Montreal's listed as a rebuilder. That's 1. New York's a rebuilder. That's 2. Pittsburgh and San Jose is 4. Let's go with Boston 5. 6 and 7 there. Okay, so there are seven teams that are listed as rebuilders. And then obviously hopeful is the next lowest. So let's just say that's 8. How many hopefuls are there? 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I mean, you could make the argument that Los Angeles works with the amount of hopefuls. It's just, like, man, do we have the value to get Alto? Like I said, that could be the guy. Nashville doesn't work. St. Louis could work. They're listed as contenders, so that wouldn't even be a debatable point. And they have someone like Rupp, who was a 5th round pick. They have a 3rd round pick in Hovland. There we go. Tyson Fallon and Nick Larson. In terms of restocking the cupboards, could work. Both are signed. So St. Louis, or if we wanted to make a really big move, we would go with Los Angeles. So let me take a look here. So I think Martinen, and again, I can make the argument for Niederreiter, even if they don't really want him. We can make that argument. Again, Nino's not bad, but this Alto guy could be something. Again, he's listed as a second line forward, so we know he's good. Only had 29 points last year. He struggled, but a former 5th overall pick, you know he's going to be decent. Perhaps slightly overpaid right now. We'd have to take somebody else back as well, which is fine. Or we just deal Martinen to St. Louis and try to get back one of those 2 prospects and maybe a pick. So I'm going to leave that up to you guys. What do you think? Do we go for the big-time move to acquire Alto? Or do we make the move with San Jose or St. Louis rather, and just get back those 2 half-decent prospects. Let me know what you think. Who stays? We know Martinen's gone, but will Niederreiter be joining him on the way out? And again, like I ended the last episode by saying, yeah, I have confidence in this team. It's looking good. I mean, obviously there are some new faces this year, guys like Owen Power as well. Obviously, though, the question is, what will Spencer Knight be able to provide us as our starting goaltender? Because that's shaping up to be the case. We're going to end it here. I want your input on that. Let me know down in the comments below. I'll see you guys next time. Also, down in the comments, leave your suggestions. The goal for the season for the team and a goal for an individual player. What is the team's goal and what is who is the spotlight player for this season? Again, the most thumbs up comment or comments will be what we use heading into this next season. I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, have a good one. Take it easy and goodbye.